It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Ave Maria head women's lacrosse coach, Coach Katelyn Sherman. How are you doing today?
Good, thanks. I appreciate you having me on today.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to start coaching in college?
Yeah, so I played in college. Actually played at Ave Maria. I had an awesome coach in my 4 years here, and that kind of helped influence me to, give back to the sport. I fell in love with lacrosse because of her, and it was kind of my mission to like keep it in my life. I wanted to keep lacrosse a part of my life, so I explored the college coaching career path, and I guess here I am.
Of course, what was that like getting to play for Ave Maria as a player?
Yeah, so I joined the team in 2016. Spring of 2016 was my freshman season. And it was an amazing experience. Going back to the coach that inspired me to be a coach, that was a huge part of, my experience. The culture here was just, so family-like, such a family atmosphere. And it was something that, was really special to me because I love the school, love the university, love the mission of the school. So being able to play lacrosse was just a huge bonus. So I was lucky to get to wear the Ave Maria jersey.
How's it like, obviously, getting to wear the Ave Maria green jersey?
Yeah, it's been great. Obviously I had awesome teammates, an awesome team for my 4 years. I was on the team that got the first ever national bid to the NAIA tournament. And so we were really excited about that. So that was 2017. I believe we went to the national tournament up in Greenville, South Carolina. And that was just an awesome experience. So being able to do that during my time here at the NAIA school at the NAIA level was awesome.
How was that experience like going to the tournament as a player?
So yeah, going to the tournament, it was like the first one for our program's history. This program was established in 2014. So that was like really, really big for the school, big for the team. And it was an incredible experience. We played number two Davenport at the time. They're now Division two, but they were NAI. And being able to play at like such a high level at a high stage was pretty great.
Of course, what was that experience like transitioning from being a player to getting into coaching?
So yeah, so after my senior year, I was exploring kind of graduate assistant positions. I landed one in Elmira College in New York. And that transition was definitely it was really fun, but it was also really difficult just because going from playing to coaching, right after college is you're really close in age with the team, but setting those professional boundaries, with the team was definitely new to me, and definitely doable. Being professional, I think the biggest thing learning was that, coaching isn't just, on the field. 90% is, doing the stuff behind the scenes, recruiting, doing all that kind of backup work to make the team experience kind of flow. So that was definitely a big step in me. And, kudos to my head coach at Elmira for helping me learn all the steps just to become a good coach.
Of course, how was that experience like playing professionally for Team China?
Yeah, so it was really funny. So I was actually roped in as kind of their media person. So I, worked with the team, did their media day, their photos, their headshots, took photos of the games, videos, interviews. And I was actually on the active roster just in case of a COVID case or in case of just roster numbers in general. So I actually was lucky enough to play in the game against South Korea for a little bit, and it was a really cool experience overall. Just seeing all the 30 nations this summer for the World Women's World Lacrosse Championships in Towson was incredible.
What was that experience like playing in the women's world and getting to play against some of those great teams?
Yeah, so we had a really good bracket. We played against the Hautestonis, which are I believe they ended number 5 actually in the tournament, or number 6, and that was incredible. We played some really competitive teams. China lacrosse is definitely new, and we're growing, so it was definitely an amazing experience. Being able to be a part of that growth and be a part of something that meant a lot to me and my roots. Um,
Of course, how is that like obviously representing China both on the national side and the lacrosse side?
So yeah, representing China was really cool. Just I was adopted when I was younger from China, so I was born in China, and I think it was just a really cool experience to meet girls, across the world that still have this passion for lacrosse. And bringing kind of lacrosse was like bringing us all together at that moment, which was really really awesome.
How has that been like obviously playing professional lacrosse while being a college coach?
Yeah, so it was definitely a fun summer of lacrosse. I definitely want to look forward to hopefully maybe trying out for the team again. And getting more involved with China lacrosse. I think balancing it between coaching and like professional lacrosse was pretty doable just because a lot of it was in the summer. So it kind of gives us time to balance recruiting and balance playing and attending these training sessions. But again, I was mostly the media person, so.
What was that like getting the grad assistant job for Armin College?
So getting the grad assistant job at Elmira was definitely really eye opening. It was my first coaching position outside of college. It definitely taught me a lot. That was actually the year that COVID shut everything down. So my first season as a coach, we only had about 5 games. We got back from a trip in Texas, and we got the news that we all had to shut down. And New York was very strict with COVID. For the following year. So actually, the following year. The head coach left, and so I became the interim coach for their last season. But sadly, the program was cut at the end of 2021.
Of course, what was that experience like becoming the interim coach and getting your first head coaching taste?
Yeah, so it was really great. I think the biggest thing was, I was trying to keep these girls, engaged because I knew their program was being cut. Was being cut, and that was really sad for the team. It was our 20th year as a program in the school, so it was definitely a shock to a lot of people. But I think it definitely gave me the steps I needed to continue to be a head coach. After that, and it was definitely just kind of like learn by fire, jump into the ring, but definitely came out with a lot of knowledge, and a lot of experience to take me to my next places.
Of course, for you, what was that like getting that call from your alma mater to become the next coach?
Yeah, so it was definitely a shock. It happened really fast, and it was something that was always in the back of my mind. I always wanted to come back to Ave Maria. Always wanted to come back because I love the school, love the mission of athletics, kind of love like the faith-based institution it is. So getting that call was definitely very, very humbling. Very honored to be back. Didn't think it was going to happen this soon, but very, very happy it did.
How did it feel, obviously, when you got announced to become the head coach for only being the second coach in program history?
Being the second coach, so I was the second coach in program history at William Penn. So right now I'm actually the fourth head coach at Ave Maria, but definitely, it was a shock, and I was very happy that it did happen.
What was that experience like going to William Penn and becoming the head coach there before coming to Alma Maria?
So I originally, went to Iowa right after my time at Elmira. I love NAI lacrosse, huge, huge passion for it. So going there was definitely kind of like a leap of faith for me. I didn't know anyone out there in the Midwest. I'm very grateful I went out there. William Penn was great. Their administration really supported lacrosse, and all around the team was awesome. And it was just like really humbling to be able to be a part of something so new, being that second head coach, really trying to set those foundations for that culture. So it was a great experience out there.
What were some of your accomplishments at William and Penn?
Yeah, so obviously only being there a season, definitely the biggest thing for me, it wasn't really on paper, it was just kind of turning that culture around, setting that foundation, for years to come. We made it to quarterfinals of the KCAC tournament. So that was the conference we were in. We produced two all KCAC team selections, and about 8 KCAC team scholars, as well as being like named an academic squad by the NAIA as well. So those were some of like the accomplishments. Again, it was a lot of it was kind of not on paper, just really getting these girls to love the sport, to really buy in and set that foundation.
Of course, coming back home to Alma Marie, what was that like switching out from being a player and having a jersey to now wearing a polo and getting to coach?
Yeah, so sometimes it's funny. I find myself, at practices, just kind of like taking it all in. Like I used to be in these players' shoes, and they can, I can relate to them in a way that, a lot of people can't. Just that I was, in your shoes. I was playing on the same exact turf, taking the same classes, same professors, and so the transition definitely has been really good. I see a lot of things in different eyes than I did as a player, but it definitely makes me appreciate the program more and, really lets me buy in because I know what it's like to be them, and I want the best experience for them, just like I got, here as a player.
Of course, coming back and obviously having a few years out from the college, what has that been like coming back to your alma mater with a few years out where you have that big age gap between players?
Yeah, so that was always my goal was to come back, after everyone I played with had graduated, and now that everyone I played with has graduated, it's been really awesome just kind of getting to know these girls on a level of, more than just my athletes, but also, daughters of God and, student athletes. That's a huge thing for me. And I think just realizing that, after a few years that I've been gone, a lot has changed, but also that culture still kind of lingers. That foundation still remains. And I think starting to build off that has been really beneficial for our girls.
What is it like for you to coach on the same field that you played on?
Yeah, so like you said, it's really cool. Sometimes I like find myself just kind of living through them and watching them and just kind of enjoying the moment. Just it's just so surreal still. Just being a few months in that I'm back here where I played and went to school. So definitely just like a great feeling to be able to give back to a program that did so much for me.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've built upon from being a coach to where you were as a player?
Yeah, so like I said, as a player, we had a really, really strong culture, and that's thanks to the coaches, the seniors when I was an underclassman, and I think just we're a really young team this year. We only have about two seniors, so we're really looking to just kind of build that foundation of culture, and really kind of set in stone like the expectations of what Ave Maria women's lacrosse is. Just so when new girls come in, those upperclassmen can just kind of pass it down right to them.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a head coach at Ave Maria?
So yeah, so we actually haven't had our first game yet, but in the spring it'll definitely, consist of, we like to do film the day before and kind of just like, get ready to like play our best, and really prepare, so that way, the game, is easy, and is easier to get through, I should say, so I guess just looking to really rally, the girls and the team and just like go out there and do our absolute best.
Of course, as a head coach and even an alma mater of the school, what is that going to feel like for you once you do get into the spring season, taking that field for the first time now as a coach versus a player?
Yeah, I'm super excited to take the field for the first time. I think, this team has a lot of good talent. So I'm really excited to put it all together. I think, like I said, it's definitely going to take me back to my game days here. But obviously I'm in a different role now, as you said, in a polo. And, I think that, remembering the why, why we have these games, why we have these long nights, long practices, and kind of going back to why we do it, for the team and for him.
Who are some of the teams that you will face in this upcoming year and in seasons to come?
Yeah, so we actually are in a brand new conference this year, the Sun Conference. So we joined the rest of the school sports in the big conference in Florida. So we'll have similar opponents that usually are in like the top 10, such as Life, Kaiser, and a couple other new teams that just started in Florida, Warner and St. Thomas. So we're really excited to get into this conference play. We think that this will be really, really good for the sport, really good for our competition. So looking forward to those schools.
How's it going to feel like, obviously, to go against teams like Kaiser?
Yeah, so obviously, Kaiser won in 2021, national champions. But, for me, it's, that was 2021, and now it's going to be 2023. And, the biggest thing with our team is just that mental game of, any day, anyone can win, and I think just realize that going into the game, wanting to win, wanting to play hard, wanting to do our best. Because if we go in just saying, oh, like it's a really good team, we're not going to get anywhere. So just reminding the girls that, it's anyone's game any day.
What does the recruitment process look like as a coach recruiting these young athletes and prospective student athletes?
Yeah, so obviously, I travel for recruiting. We like to go to games. Kind of like to go out to tournaments and watch girls play, and then kind of get to know them, through email, text, and then hopefully get them on campus for a visit, and then kind of take it from there. It's definitely a growing sport at the high school level, so a lot of girls, it's brand new to them. They don't know they can play. I think it's about getting the opportunity out there for them.
Of course, what does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play women's lacrosse?
So yeah, definitely women's lacrosse as a whole. There's a lot of recruits that don't really know what to do or where to start. There's so many different levels from D2, D1 to D3 to NAI. And so that process definitely is just them doing their research, them contacting coaches they really kind of see fit for their college needs and college wants. So that's kind of how it works, and then the college coaches and the prospects kind of talk from there.
What does the official visit look like at Ave Maria for women's lacrosse?
Yeah, so we like to, take our recruits. They meet with admissions, get a nice tour of the campus. We grab a meal in the cafeteria, and then depending on the time of year they visit, they practice with us at the NAI level. We're allowed to do that, so they can practice with us. Kind of meet the team, stay the night, and that's kind of like just kind of a wrap up of their experience. We want them to be immersed as much as possible, with our team, with the school, so they can have all the right factors to make the good choice.
What is it like as a head coach and even an alma mater of the school, seeing them get to put on that green jersey that you put on as a player?
Yeah, I'm really proud of these girls. A couple of them I knew just through being an alumni. And so every time they put on the jersey, they represent Ave Maria Lacrosse, and that's a high standard. And it makes me really proud that they're here, playing the sport they love, going to the school that they love, and doing their best every day, showing up and giving it all, the glory to God.
What are some of your future plans as head coach for Ave Maria women's lacrosse?
Yeah, I definitely, being 2 months in, I definitely am looking forward to the next, years to come to really kind of build this foundation, build a good, solid culture that, no matter what coach comes in over the years, the culture will stay. And that's a big goal for me. That and, on the field, definitely looking to tap into that top 10. We're at 11th place right now receiving votes. So, we're really looking to get into that top 10 and get to the national tournament again.
What advice would you give those high school athletes looking to become college lacrosse players?
Yeah, so, I think just the biggest thing is working hard, reaching out, communicating to college coaches. That's a really, really big factor. We really appreciate it when, high school athletes let us know whether the school is for them or not for them. Our feelings aren't hurt. For me personally, I want the best for all my recruits. I want them to be happy where they are and be happy with the program, the coach, and college is college is there to get your degree at this level. And if you don't like the school, it's not going to be the best experience that they can have.
What advice would you give those college athletes looking to play professionally, whether it's Athletes Unlimited or US lacrosse?
Yeah, so athletes unlimited in U.S. lacrosse, consist of a lot of Division I players. But there's actually a new league too called By the Pros that's starting. We have our first NAI athlete playing pro in history, and they played at Benedictine, so it's gonna be really cool to see that. But just know that like it's never out of reach. If you work hard, and you play hard, and that's like your goal, it's not unreachable. So I say continue to work hard, definitely explore your options and um, kind of get to that level. And it's all about networking too, who you know.
What advice would you give those athletes in college looking to play for a national team, whether it's US, Canada, Mexico, or even China?
Yeah, so, obviously being, in college, like you definitely want to look and kind of like into your heritage, and kind of reach out to those coaches, use the internet, reach out to those coaches to see if they have any spots for tryouts, and possibly they do, and that's just kind of the big thing is reaching out and just asking because, at the end of the day, that's, the only way you're going to be able to kind of get immersed into like the world lacrosse scene.
What advice would you give people looking to get into college coaching?
Yeah, so, obviously college coaching, a lot of people, like to assume it's just, on the field coaching. I think the biggest thing is looking for those graduate assistantships after college. Those things are great because first of all, you can get a master's degree, paid for while also getting experience for 2 years, 2-year commitment under the belt of another head coach. I think learning all the ins and outs of the processes, graduate assistant's a great place to start. And again, it's like, it's it's kind of like it's kind of like you have to know people. Networking is huge in college coaching, and the women's lacrosse world is really small. So by doing these graduate assistantships, you're building your network because that head coach may know other head coaches if you want to kind of move on with your career.
What advice would you give those people, whether they're assistant coaches or head coaches, coaching at their alma mater, like you did?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is it's definitely a special thing to be able to do. It's definitely just, one of those things that, I'm humbled and lucky to do. And I think if anyone has the chance, it's definitely a special role because you've been there, you've been in your player's shoes and, it's easier to relate to them. And, a lot of times you really care about that program.
What advice would you give future head coaches looking to get started in coaching?
So yeah, so obviously, coming out of those assistantships, I think the biggest thing is, as a head coach, like you're always learning. There's never a cap on learning when you're a head coach. Whether you have a staff or you have assistants, I think the biggest thing is keeping that mind open. Asking your assistants, asking other of your coaching peers, what should I do here, or what's a good drill for this. I think the biggest thing is just continue to learn because you'll never stop growing in this profession.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Ave Maria Women's Lacrosse Program at?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Gyrene Lacrosse. So we're, really trying to keep up the social media and also as well as kind of like show, recruits and show other people kind of what it's like to be a member of the women's lacrosse team. And I'm also on Twitter as well, Coach_Sherm26. So definitely follow me. I love to, retweet lacrosse stuff and big lacrosse fan on Twitter. It's the lacrosse community is great. So
Thank you again, Coach Katelyn Sherman, for your interview and best of luck in your future at Ave Maria as you begin this journey coaching as a head coach at your alma mater.
awesome. Thank you so much, Brandon. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Katelyn Sherman, for your interview and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.